How's it going, everybody? It's Charlie and welcome back to another video on the Chatting Leeds YouTube channel. Just before we get into it, as always, please make sure that you are smashing that like button. It really does help get the video out there to more people. Please subscribe to the channel if you are brand new as well. It would really mean a lot. Hit the notification bell and, of course, get all your thoughts and opinions into the comment section down below. It's been just over a week now since the last upload on the channel, and I'll be honest, guys, it's been quite thin on the ground in terms of things to discuss in the world of Leeds United. And I'll be honest, as I'm sure a lot of you are probably the same, I kind of wanted a bit of a Leeds United detox for the last week. I think I just wanted to try and actually enjoy an international break for once, rather than, you know, just be thinking about Leeds constantly, because let's be honest, the next 8 games that are coming up are going to be very stressful. There's going to be a lot of football watched. You know, I will be, of course, watching our games. I'll be watching Sheffield United games. I'll be watching Burnley games. Because, like I said, this run-in could really go down to the wire. You know, all 3 teams are strong. I would say that Leeds United have got the easiest run-in of the 3 on paper. But again, football's not played on paper, is it? And the Championship is the Championship at the end of the day, and it's one of them leagues where anything can happen on any given game week. You know, obviously, Sheffield United are back on Friday night against Coventry at home. That'll be a tough game for them. And then obviously we're at home to Swansea. I think Burnley have got Bristol City. So out of the 3 teams, I would say we've probably got the more generous game to come back to. But again, football's not played like that. But yeah, I think as we you know, go over the next few days, I think, you know, the anxiety and the pre-game dread will start to kick in. And then obviously on Friday night, I'm sure we'll all be watching Sheffield United take on Coventry. And then that is when the suffering begins until the 3rd of May. And on the 3rd of May, it will all be over. Thank God for that. Well, hopefully it'll all be over anyway, fingers crossed. But why I wanted to come on tonight in particular is obviously it's quite a huge blow for Leeds United during the international break concerning Willy Gnonto, who, you know, came on in that second half against Queen's Park Rangers and was probably one of the best players on the pitch, involved in the equaliser for Jayden Bogle, put himself about quite a lot, you know, just made better decisions than what Brendan Aronson would in the same situations. You know, Brendan Aronson had an awful first half against QPR. Obviously, the assist for their opening goal was just bizarre, and just his all-round play was just completely anonymous. And I think we all felt after the performance from Willy Gnonto that Gnonto would come in, and I think the fact that Farke took Aronson off at half-time in that game, for me, means that he's done with him, and that he's accepted now that I think Gnonto is the better player, and, you know, should come into the team in the number 10 role. Obviously, he was speaking about the fact that if he does that, it means he'll probably have to go with Gruev and Tanaka rather than Rothwell and Tanaka, which I completely disagree with. I think Rothwell and Tanaka can both add that defensive stability that we would need in the middle of the park. But again, I'm not Daniel Farke. I'm not paid the big bucks to make those decisions. But if we get to Swansea on Saturday and Gruev is in the midfield, I think there'll be a lot of frustrated people in Ellen Road, myself included. But like I say, Willy Gnonto, you know, like I said, good performance against QPR, and as we all thought he would be coming in. And then he's gone away with Italy under-21s, started their opening game and came off after 40 minutes after sustaining an ankle injury. Typical Leeds United luck, that, isn't it? Typical. And apparently, according to various reports, he's already returned to Thorpe Arch to be assessed. So obviously, Daniel Farke's press conference on Thursday will be very telling. I think we're all eagerly anticipating that. Hopefully, it was just a precaution why they took him off. You know, hopefully he will be okay for Saturday. But if not, we're going to be looking at a Brendan Aronson in the number 10 situation, aren't we? And I guess the only silver lining with that is that we will probably see Rothwell and Tanaka, because I do think that, you know, if Willy Gnonto is fit and Willy Gnonto plays, he will play Gruev. he pretty much said that in the aftermath of the QPR game. He thinks that if you got Gnonto in there, that you need Gruev in there to obviously just to break up play in the middle. But I think Rothwell and Tanaka can both do a job in that role. I think they complement each other so much better as well. I think one knows when to go and the other sits, and vice versa. You know, they've just got a better understanding. I think when Gruev and Tanaka have played together, it just doesn't look right. It just looks a bit disjointed in the middle. The balance isn't right. Obviously, hopefully, you know, if Ethan Ampadu can come back within the next few games, I think, you know, he would add some real good defensive stability in the middle of the park. But Gruev, for me, is just not the one. Everyone knows this by now, you know, what I think of Ilya Gruev. I don't actually think he's bad at what he does. I just think what he does doesn't offer Leeds United anything. The way that we like to play on the front foot, possession-based football, it just doesn't suit his attributes, in my opinion. But like I said, I disagree with Farke's comments. I do think that if Gnonto plays, that Rothwell and Tanaka can play behind him. But again, if he makes that decision, he makes that decision. But the main thing is seeing if Willy Gnonto can be fit. Because, you know, like I said, it's just Leeds United luck, isn't it? You know, he comes on against QPR, has a really good half. Everyone's thinking, right, Aronson will get dropped, finally. And Willy Gnonto will come in to play in the 10 role for the remainder of the season, hopefully. And then he goes and gets this injury. Apparently the last time he suffered the same injury, it ruled him out for a month. Which, again, that wouldn't be ideal if he was ruled out for a month. Because, like I say, I just think Aronson, you know, since the turn of the year, just hasn't been the one, has he? You know, he's been proper anonymous. And, you know, I saw something on Twitter either yesterday or the day before. And it was quite interesting that Aronson and Perot, I think in games they've started together this season, they haven't combined for a goal. I don't think. Or I think maybe in 2025 they haven't combined for a goal, because I do believe they combined for that Derby goal away, which was right at the end of December. So I think in 2025 they haven't combined for a goal yet. And that's your number 10 and your number 9. You know, the two players that you would think would have a good relationship on the pitch. Now, again, they were robbed of a great goal that they would have combined for against Millwall. But like I say, Aronson, you know, all these people, oh, he runs about, he does this, he does that. I'm like, I could go out on Ellen Road and just have a runabout. Doesn't mean I'm a good number 10. And it's weird because he's had 10 goal involvements this season, which is pretty decent. You know, 8 goals and 2 assists. But Gnonto, in probably about a third of the minutes played, has got 5 goals and 5 assists, so the same amount of goal contributions. That tells you everything you need to know, in my opinion, anyway. But yeah, like I say, it could be a huge, huge blow for Leeds United. And like I say, all eyes will be on Daniel Farke's press conference on Thursday, where he will give us an update on Willy Gnonto. You know, hopefully, even if he is out, hopefully it's just, you know, maybe a game or 2. But again, you know, even if he's out for a game or 2, then you've got to get him back to match sharpness, which could take a while. So for me, if he's injured for a game or 2, you're going to see Aronson for the remainder of this season, or for the majority of these games coming up anyway. And, you know, like I said, and again, on the other side of the argument, you could say, well, Aronson in the 10 has got us this far, which it has. It has. I just think we need someone better in that 10 role. We need a better decision maker, someone with a little bit of a better football IQ than Brendan Aronson, just to get us over the line, in my opinion. You know, you could even drop Perot into the 10 and start Mateo Joseph. I'd even be open to that, potentially, just to see how that works. You know, because I think in the latter stages of games that has worked. Give it a go. Give it a go. You know, anything has got to be better than Brendan Aronson at the minute. And, you know, I'm saying all this, and he'll probably go and score on Saturday if he starts. And, you know, I hope he does. But it's just very frustrating, isn't it? And, you know, the luck that Leeds United have got in these scenarios, you know, we finally get a good performance from a player in the number 10. And then that player goes and gets injured on international break. But again, fingers crossed, it's not all doom and gloom. Like I say, we'll see what Farke says on Thursday. But like I say, guys, I pray for some good news But yeah, that's it for this video, guys. If you have enjoyed the content, please make sure that you are smashing a like on it. It really does help get it out there to more people. Please subscribe to the channel if you are brand new, along with hitting the notification bell so that you're always aware of when content is out on the channel. And make sure you get all your thoughts and opinions into the comment section down below, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.